Welcome back to Concise Community Medicine Exam Preparatory Revision video with me, Kavya Tandal. Today we'll be seeing about the continuation of plague. This is part 2. The part 1 video link is in the description. Do check it out. Before that, if you have not subscribed our channel, do subscribe for more interesting videos like this and as well press the bell icon so that you will receive regular videos. We'll be seeing the continuation of that. That is, we'll start with blocked and partial block flea mechanism, how it is causing plague, investigation in rodent flea, human plague, prevention and control of plague, epidemiological investigation in plague. First, blocked flea and partial block flea mechanism. Basically, this is flea, and this flea will feed on the blood. Now, what happens is, as it feeds on the blood, the bacteria which we are speaking about is Yersinia pestis will enter the gut. The proventriculus, it is this part where in which this bacteria will form biofilm. As this bacteria is going to form biofilm, this will either partially or completely obstruct the tract. If it partially obstruct the tract, then we are labeling it as a partially obstructed flea. If it is completely obstructing the tract, it is a complete flea, obstructed flea. Now, what happens is because of complete obstruction, this flea cannot take in blood, meal, and thereby this will die soon. As this dies soon, the risk of transmission of plague decreases. But in case where there is a partial flea block, still the flea can suck in blood, and as every time it sucks the blood, it also gives out the bacteria. So it has an increased risk of spreading the plague. This is all about blocked flea and partial flea mechanism, which is most important. And one important thing is in case of Yersinia pseudotuberculosis, it colonizes in the hind gut, so it is not transmitting by the blood meal. Now coming to investigation in rodent plague. If at all there is a suspected rodent plague, if someone is saying there's a group of rodent dying in that in that field, now the investigator should go to that field with all personal protective equipment, take the rodent, it is of any stage, either it is a fresh, a newly dead or decomposed, take that, put it into plastic bag, make sure it is of several plastic bags, put in together. It should be done very immediately because rodent plague, if the rodent dies, the ectoparasite we are speaking about, the rat flea will fly out. So before that, we'll have to take that dead rodent, put it into cover and tie it. So after tying it, we need to put into a wooden box or the tin. We should also fill that space which is present in that tin with sawdust or cotton. After that, label that with this label and give the site of collection and details about that collection of rat. Then send it to a nearby laboratory. Then the investigation starts. In laboratory, with a pair of tongs, the rat is taken out, put it into 5% cresol, and then it is mounted on a wooden board. It on the dorsum, it is all stretched. On the abdomen, we are swabbing it with Lysol or spirit. Then we are cutting the rodent with a knife till the chest. That knife is again put it into a boiling water for sterilization and disinfection. Then we are dissecting out with another instrument the spleen, liver, lung, and buboes. Why this is taken is because in plague these are the organs just getting affected. Is in rodent plague also the same organs. So we're taking out, and in order to, because these will when we are taking out there will be more blood, so we are keeping on a blotting paper that absorbs the blood. So after that, what we do, we are taking the tissue and pressing. We're not rubbing. Remember, we are just pressing against the slide. If it in case of a decomposed rat, we are using the bone marrow, and they are taking and spreading on the slide for smear examination. Plague basically are seen. Now coming to the animal inoculation, the tissue is now taken. It is mortared, and that is mixed with the little saline, that is injected into guinea pig or white mouse. In guinea pig, it takes 7 days. It is infected and dies within 7 days. In white mouse, it is 48 hours. Now, what actually happens is there are some pathological changes happen at the site of injection. There will be edema, necrosis. There will be necrotic change in the lungs, malted liver, subcutaneous congestion and hemorrhage. There is buboes and congestion of spleen. Now, what are the transmission cycle? We have already said, discussed yesterday also, flea, rodent, and human. The probability could be anywhere. The transmission cycle takes place. There are 5 different transmission cycles from flea to rodent, rodent to human, human to human, like this. Coming back to incubation period, it is bubonic and septicemic plague, it is 2 to 7 days. In pneumonic plague, it is 1 to 3 days. Bubonic plague, they say that whenever the flea bites, commonly in lower limb, why it is biting in lower limb? If the question comes, remember fleas, they will not fly. So this will usually bite in the lower limb. In turn, that causes enlargement of lymph node. This enlarged tender lymph node is actually called as buboes. This buboes usually go in for suppuration. Then suppuration of the lymph node is a favorable sign in bubonic plague. Thereby, there will be inguinal lymphadenopathy, lower limb. So it is inguinal lymphadenopathy, but that can also happen in upper limb and anywhere. Pneumonic plague, we know it is affecting the lung, and this is more highly contagious and communicable type of plague, but it's very less than 1% of incidence. Septicemic plague is rare. It could be because of accidental lab investigation. Now coming to how can we prevent and control the plague, which is most important. So control of cases could be diagnose early, notify to the higher authority, isolate, especially pneumonic plague which is highly communicable, so isolate them and treat. Treatment is injection streptomycin is the drug of choice. If not, tetracycline and gentamicin can be given. And at last, safe disposal of infected material and dead bodies should be disposed aseptically. In early diagnosis, we can be clinching it from either there will be group of dead rats, or the human will be presenting with typical features of bubonic plague, which is more common, or we can get it from smear examination. Flea control and rodent control, DDT or organochloride, which is effective. Coming to insecticide, we need to do spraying of around 5 miles radius from the infected area. By 48 hours, there should be dropping down of flea index to 0. Remember, we have discussed yesterday that flea index is most important, especially the Chopis index. So usually it has to go to 0. If it is more than 1, then that indicates there is a potential outbreak. We should also spray the insecticide all around the home. Make sure all the edible items are closed and so on. It should be sprayed 3 feet above the floor level. So to rodent control, a good sanitation in the home, a good housing, and increased quality of life can control the rodent. Now coming to chemoprophylaxis, surveillance, and health education. Chemoprophylaxis, only one thing remember, tetracycline is a drug of choice, 500 milligrams 6 hourly for 5 days, to be given to plague contacts on all healthcare workers. Now coming to surveillance, this is most important. Surveillance should be done in natural foci area. We have discussed what is natural foci in previous video. It should be done in microbiological, serological, entomological, mammalogical, epidemiological, and ecological survey. Like every point we need to do surveillance, because this is going to be a potential threat in epidemic. Health education is must. We should give about what is plague, the report about the dead rats and suspected human cases. Anyone in that time of dead rats coming to clinic with history of fever with lymphadenopathy or multiple pneumonia cases, multiple sites of pneumonia on investigation, the first differential diagnosis should be plague. Coming to vaccination, Hafkin is the one which is developed first vaccine, killed vaccine of plague. Then Soke modified it by formalin kill plague vaccine. It is like 2000 million killed organism per ml. Subcutaneous injection, 2 doses, and by 5 to 7 days to 6 days after injection, immunity develops. 6 months of immune booster should be given only for risk population like the geologist, healthcare workers, and so on. Vaccine is indicated for travelers who is traveling to hyper-endemic areas with plague infection. Coming to epidemiological investigation, we know now what is the source, how it is spread, how it is distributed in the community, and what is the ultimate prevalence of the plague in this community. This is the main objective. Then, while we are doing this, we should be always correlating in respect to epizootic factors. Investigate on direct. We shouldn't go speak directly to the patient or the contact. You should always make a note about the movement of the people, occupation, custom, and habit in eliciting the demographic data in epidemiological investigation. Now, the surveillance team should be taking a detailed questionnaire to elicit good demographic data, and a uniform record of each case is must. Each case of plague is must. This investigation can be done in a place where there's a change of population, because there are huge number of people affected, they are dying, and so on. Change in population, serological survey must be done to say whether they have any carriers or not, symptomatic or asymptomatic people. Then we should isolate what strain of SNA species is there. And another important thing is we should be more stringent in watching the containerized cargoes. This is cargoes of grains at the seaport or even the airport level. This is must when we are doing a surveillance in plague. Thank you so much for your patient listening.